Hi everyone. Welcome to lecture 8 of playlist Teaching My Wife Artificial Intelligence. We have this beautiful weather in Mumbai and in that weather we are learning how to do instruction fine tuning of LLMs. So last lecture,
Totally weather inappropriate subject.
yes. So last time we saw fine tuning of LLMs. This time we are going to see instruction fine tuning, and let's just in first 5 minutes understand the difference. Last lecture we did just next word prediction.
Huh,
In this lecture, we are going to make it learn any instructions it is told. In short,
huh.
chat GPT. Chat
Okay.
GPT ko whatever we
Okay.
ask, it answers that. That
Huh.
is instruction fine tuning.
Hmm.
So any
Okay.
questions on
Okay.
this?
So I from what I understood, a pre-training is you take raw data, apply it to an architecture, and make it just predict the next word,
That's it.
and
That's it.
it
Yes.
doesn't have to be coherent. It just has to predict.
Correct.
Then you fine tune it on a specific data set, and then it can predict, do the same prediction on that smaller data set. Correct. And instruction fine tuning is when you make that process more human friendly, more user friendly. So instead of just word prediction, we are modifying that such that it behaves like a chatbot.
Yes. I'll add just one thing here.
Hmm.
Pre-training on the entire internet, it teaches on an average general knowledge. When I
Hmm.
continue that pre-training on subset of data, I
Hmm.
specialize it in the few things I've chosen. So if I want to create a
Hmm.
science chatbot, I will say, you know
Hmm.
what, I know you have learned all the data on internet, but I want you to
Hmm.
specialize in science. So this is the extra data.
Hmm.
Learn this a bit more.
Hmm.
Okay.
Hmm.
And then by doing the instruction fine tuning, we make it follow these things, understand what human wants, doesn't want, and do the stuff accordingly.
I know how to place it in my brain.
Yes,
When you pre-train, it is nursery to class 12th general knowledge that every student
correct,
learns. When you fine tune it, it's like college specialization EXTC,
correct.
and instruction fine tuning is when you get a job
Yes,
and
and
you have
whatever
to be
are
useful
asks
to
in the
general
job,
audience.
you can do that.
Yeah, you have to do what you are
Correct.
asked to do.
Perfect.
It's not general. It is
Perfect.
specific to the task at hand. Yes.
Perfect. Yes, perfect. Okay. So
Mm,
going into the lecture notes now.
mm,
This is on Google Colab, sorry, GitHub repository. I will put the link in the description. Okay.
mm,
So two types of LLM. One is next word prediction. It is called as a base model.
mm,
Only next word prediction. Trained on entire
mm,
internet data as is. And it
mm,
is easiest to create this data set. Why? We just have to download it.
mm,
Anything can be converted to next word, right? So coding data,
mm,
Reddit data, finance data, whatever. Then the next
mm,
one is instruction follower. So
mm,
it is by built on top of a pre-trained base model. It is not direct. It has to have that
mm,
previous base model as is. Okay.
mm,
On top
mm,
of that, we give data set of different kinds of instructions and a result of following those instructions. That's it.
mm,
So देखो ये यहाँ पे
mm,
this is the difference. Raw internet text यहाँ पे here we
mm,
need instruction response pairs. They are generated by humans.
mm,
You need maybe 1
mm.
million such entries, but you need them done manually. Whereas a raw internet text,
I don't know what is scarier, AI learning from Reddit data or having to create those Reddit
both
data.
are
I don't know.
scary.
Both are equally scary.
Because if you don't do, the removal of some bad data, that data goes to LLM. It has learned weirdest of shit.
Yeah, it is. Reddit is not good place for LLM to learn from. It's the dark side of
Yes, dark
humanity.
side of humanity. Yes. So raw text and यहाँ पे instruction following this pair. Now you might see this. As long as I have a pre-trained base model, I can add anything I want on top of it. I can
Hmm.
save my cost of getting this data and training it to this level, and I start with a high quality model right out of the bat.
Hmm.
Let's go
Makes
to
sense.
code. So for coding, GitHub has this website where all of these codes are happening. So teaching my wife AI, lecture number 8, instruction fine tuning, and we are going to open something called as alpaca fine tune. We are going to run this code.
Okay.
Okay, so let me open Colab.
नॉर्मल नाम क्यों नहीं होते? कैसे अल्पका देख के मेरे को क्या समझ में आएगा?
Yes, you're right. It's because alpaca looks cute.
You can't make programming cute. It's
Yes,
not a cute
it's not.
subject.
It's
I
not.
don't know why they keep
It's not.
giving fun names for really complicated
Yes, it's
topics.
not.
I don't
This
know.
naming is random. Stanford gave this name to the question answer pair dataset, alpaca. Then there is another name called as llama, which I think you know already is a architecture by Facebook. It is also an animal which looks like this. Don't know why they chose it, but it is what it is.
Wow. I can't tell the difference.
Maybe biologists can tell. Okay, so let's copy paste this code and we will run this code. So I did this. A key thing to keep in mind is datasets library is changing a lot
Hmm.
of times. So I myself struggle with the problem. I run something and it keeps giving me error. Whereas answer to
Hmm.
fixing that error is pip install upgrade the library, which is this datasets. This has
Okay.
fixed the problem most of the times. So here I'm starting with
Okay.
this. I'm loading the data set. I'm loading the transformers library in which the models are
Hmm.
present. Okay.
Hmm.
So let's go to
Hmm.
the next. And I am copying the first function. I wrote this function which downloads model and its tokenizer.
Hmm.
In LLM, we have
Hmm.
seen this. Always you have a model and you have a tokenizer. Tokenizer converts words to
Hmm.
English. Okay.
Hmm.
So this is what has happened. Now let me copy.
Numbers.
Yes,
Words to numbers.
words to numbers. So let me copy this part here and we have a model and tokenizer being downloaded. Okay. Let's
Hmm.
see the next part. Part number 2 is downloading the dataset. Now this guy has downloaded it. I should have set some forced download somewhere. It would have shown us the file being downloaded. It kind of looks something like this. Okay,
Hmm.
let it be. So let's download the dataset here. I am gonna run this function. Just a second. Let's call this function by saying load dataset here. So it has downloaded this dataset. Because I ran
Hmm.
this just now, it didn't show anything, but it would show the data thing. Okay. So if I maybe do data example of 0, it should give me what it has. So instruction, give 3 tips for staying healthy. Input is nothing. Output, eat balanced diet, exercise regularly, get enough sleep.
So,
This is the data.
if you can ask good questions and give good answers, you can have a high quality data set.
Yes. Yes.
I mean, yes. I think AI, more than knowing the answer, AI teaches the art of asking questions.
Yes. So if you can systemize this, if you can figure out what are the good categories for answers, and
Hmm.
make the model understand them, you can build a much better model very easily. So use the existing tools. That's the most
Hmm.
important thing. Never start training from
Hmm.
scratch. Use a pre-trained base model
Hmm.
and learn how to
Hmm.
customize on top of that. You will have a lot of power there. Okay. So then once the data is downloaded, this part, converts it into a data set which can be read by the model. Now, don't worry about
Okay.
what is exactly happening. It reads it, it converts it into format, instruction, input, output, and there is some kind
Mm,
of coding. Get LLM to do this. Okay, this is not an
mm,
important thing. We need to know few functions, which is load data set, and this is how where
mm,
we are downloading the model. These are important ones. Okay, so I'm going to run this
mm.
processing thing. It is going to process and it is available for us to use. Then let's do
Okay.
the training part. So I have created a separate function for training, all for ease of
Mm,
reading. Okay, it
mm,
takes model, it takes tokenizer,
mm,
it takes data set,
mm,
and it takes both
mm,
the data set we are training.
mm, mm,
Then transformers library has this we already saw in last lecture, something called as training
mm,
arguments. So
mm,
we have this, we specify when the where the model will be saved, how many times we
mm,
should run the model, just a few things
mm,
which are important. That's it.
mm, mm,
We create the configuration, we create the guy who is going to do the actual
mm,
training. For that,
mm,
model needs to get model, training arguments are given as training arguments. This is the training data set, this is the
mm.
validation data set, and this does the data transformation. So let's run this,
Okay. Mm,
and I'm also gonna write the actual training model part. It is by calling simple train function. This is where it is going to take a data, do gradient descent for every single parameter of the model. Okay,
mm,
this is why these things are important. So now let's
mm,
go the trainer part. I am going to set up a trainer and I am going to call the function which I just wrote.
mm.
This has started training.
So it'll take about 3 minutes.
It is going to take 2 to 3 minutes. The data we chose was alpaca. It is 52,000 instructions taking 24 MB, created by Stanford, one of the early instruction fine-tuning data. Generally,
Okay.
for
Okay.
1
Okay.
lakh entries, it takes around maybe 2 3 days on a big GPU. On 50,000, it's just one GPU is enough. So this training is happening, and at the end we have a model which has been fine tuned to follow whatever stuff this alpaca has.
Mm,
Okay. If instead of
mm,
alpaca we had written questions on Harry Potter, it would have learned to
mm,
answer anything to any detail in Harry
mm.
Potter. If we
Okay.
change this data set to something called as code
Mm,
alpaca is let me see, it is this data set in which there are
mm,
20,000
mm,
small problems. It's like create
mm.
array of length 5 which contains all even
Oh,
numbers.
coding questions and answers.
Yes. So if we ask it a frog hopping problem or some random number problem, if that is part of this data set, it should learn. Okay.
So just if a horrible coder has created this data set with wrong answers, then you will have a chatbot trained on.
Yes.
Am I giving people ideas?
Yes. If we have a bad data set, oh my God, this is gonna be bad. The model will not help you. It will just pretend I'm like, haha, I'm sure of this. It will be overconfident, Achinkya. Okay. If instead of that we do this flan fine tuning, it is another data set which Google created. It is around 300 GB data set. It teaches model to follow almost all the questions a human can ask. So on top of almost whatever they have thought of, it's the latest effort by Google. So if we do this on flan, it is going to do fine tuning here. Going back to the model here, the model has trained, model has been saved, and it has learned to follow instructions on this. We
Hmm.
gave it model, whatever the model we gave it to the beginning. So it was GPT-2 here.
Hmm.
And the model has learned to follow instructions. So let me see. Let's ask a query here. Okay, so I asked GPT to write some code for me, and it is given me this.
Write a short poem about artificial intelligence. Thanks, AI.
Okay, the output. Artificial intelligence is a topic of great interest for many people today. It is area of research that offers insights into underlying principles of machine learning. Now keep in mind,
That's not very
wait, wait,
poet.
wait, wait. Let me explain why this is not as bad as it looks. It used GPT-2 model, which was only 130 million parameter.
37 million.
You
Oh,
remember that
right, right.
Darcy
It's a
guy? It
small
is the
model.
same model,
Yes,
and it has
yes,
learned
we
to
remember.
answer. It has not composed a poem, but it is answering coherently. That's insane.
Maybe, maybe I can look at it as this is how artificial intelligence writes poetry.
Yes. And to be honest, I think this was part of the training data. Okay. So we could say that it has copied the answer, but reality is the data had to write a poem, whereas it gave
Hmm.
not a poem answer. So I would say it has still learned.
हाँ मतलब स्टेप्स के नंबर दे दो
like नहीं रे बाबा सीख रहा है बच्चा अभी इतना क्यों जजमेंटल बन रहे हो देखो उसने क्या अच्छे से किया है लेट्स स्टार्ट फ्रॉम देयर यू नो so what are three laws of robotics? Robotics is development of intelligence machine. You know what I want to give? What is the second law of robotics? Let's see. Okay, no, this has failed, but at least it is being some coherent thing. When we replace the model with a bigger model with a better capability, it should learn a lot better.
तो confidently answer this.
Yes, yes. This overconfidence is called as hallucination in LLMs. So let's summarize the two kinds of LLM we have. You start with a completely untrained model and you train it on entire data of internet
Hmm.
just to predict the
Hmm.
next word. That is
Hmm.
called as a
Hmm.
base model.
Hmm.
When you
Hmm.
search on Hugging Face, either you will find it called as base model or pre-trained. That's it.
Hmm.
These
Hmm.
are models which can just do next word prediction. There is a
Hmm.
lot of knowledge in it. You can fine tune it on anything you require on top of it. What
Hmm.
these model can't do is if I ask it
Hmm.
to summarize something, they can't. They
Hmm.
can only
Hmm.
do next word prediction. They are, just
Hmm.
a lot of raw
Hmm.
knowledge they have. Next kind
Hmm.
of model is instruction follower model. So
Hmm.
they are built on top of the previous model, which is base or pre-trained.
Hmm.
Okay. On top of that, we train it on millions of data points of instruction
Hmm.
and its
Hmm.
response. So the
Hmm.
instructions is like summarize this something and output of that summary.
Hmm.
Translate this example, output of that translation. So all kinds of
Hmm.
things a human might ask, those are the instructions we give as an input, and it learns to follow them. The
Hmm.
naming of these on Hugging Face is in the word you will
Hmm.
find instruct word in it.
Hmm. Hmm.
Okay. Now, building on top of that, if we wanna build a custom domain specific LLM,
Hmm. Hmm.
something for oil trading, something for education, something for 11th, 12th IT, anything, I need
Hmm.
to take
Hmm.
custom data, which could be raw data related to that thing, and
Hmm.
maybe
Hmm.
continue pre-training on it.
Hmm.
Also, I need to create a custom data set of lots of
Hmm.
instruction and response pairs and
Hmm.
train a instruct model on that data.
Hmm.
That's it. This is how
Hmm.
we build any custom chat GPT. In this
Okay.
4 or 5 minutes, we learned how a chat GPT is built, and we in last 2 minutes we learned how chat GPT is built and how to build a chat GPT for a custom use case. Make sense?
Okay.
So that was our fine tuning.
Hmm.
Now there is
Hmm.
something called as parameter efficient fine tuning.
Hmm.
उसमें क्या होता है, instead of fine tuning an entire model, you just add
Hmm.
1% of parameters आप update करते हो. So it kind of like trains a lot faster. उसका code snippet we will see in next lecture, but most importantly in next lecture we will create instruction dataset.
Okay.
So with that,
Okay.
we have learned fine tuning, instruction fine tuning, data set creation, and you can do that custom model creation for anything. This is a very important knowledge. Okay. So
Hmm.
that's it for today's lecture.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, cool. Check.
Thank you.
Welcome.